Hello, guys. Welcome to Football Today podcast. I'm Derek. I'm now co-located with Charles this week. So how we doing, Charles?
Good. Having fun.
Having fun. And then we got David down
How you
below.
doing?
How you doing, David?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Sweet. All right, guys. We got some really good action to talk about. From Game 7. From my point of view, some really crazy games in the Premier League, even though a lot of them were postponed. We'll get into that. And then we're going to talk about some potential managerial dominoes that may happen with a few top clubs that happened with the sacking of Thomas Tuchel from Chelsea. So, but first, let's get into straight to the Champions League. David, your thoughts on the Champions League?
Sorry, we're doing that
Can you hear us,
dance
David?
where it seems to be you were going all crazy, but it was probably my end. So you repeat that.
Okay.
And I'll
Can you hear us, David?
yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good. All right, let's get into Champions League. So starting on Tuesday, I guess obviously big game of the week. Everybody knows which Bayern got beat Barcelona. Which let's talk to. I'll talk to Charles about this. About Bayern. That first half didn't really look that convincing.
Well, Bayern got off to a quick start the first 15 minutes, but after that, it was all Barcelona. They pretty much dominated the first half, and it looked like Lewandowski was gonna get revenge on Bayern. Typical Lewandowski against a big club. He had opportunities, rang one off the bar. The defense came up big, and just like he does against the tough teams in Champions League, he can't finish. And he's there. He has opportunities, but he can't finish. And that was the knock at him at Bayern with us.
Yeah.
He's great in the group stage against your average team. Like last week, he had a hat trick against Pilsen. But this week, goose egg. And I think Barcelona is going to realize that here shortly when they get to knockout stage.
Yeah, for sure.
They're going to have to find someone that can help score besides Lewandowski. But yeah, that was it was scary. I was on the edge of my seat that game when they started taking over. They held possession. They looked like us, really. They had the majority. I think they had 71% possession or something like that. It was crazy over Bayern, and we were playing mostly defense. And but then the second half, we made some adjustments, and Bayern took over. And we kind of started slowly controlling the second half. And we got 2 goals within 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And but Mane's the one that's the big talk. He started off the first 2 or 3 games on fire, and he just went ice cold. He has a lot. He has a lot of opportunities, a lot of shots on goal. He just hasn't been able to finish, and we need his scoring presence if we're gonna. It shows in the Bundesliga, which we'll get to here in a little bit, but we're gonna need him to start scoring goals.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. David, what are your thoughts on Barcelona's performance in that game?
So kind of like what Charles said, it's interesting that Bayern was actually still in that game by the second half. Pedri had a chance that he was right through at the beginning and at the end. I think Pedri and Gavi. Am I being all techno? Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm hearing
Keep
some
going.
feedback.
We're listening.
My bad. Rafinha also had some good chances. It looked very much like Barcelona was going to end up putting one of those away, and it was going to just control the game from there on out. But since they didn't, once Bayern scored those 2 goals, they were able to have so much control of the game that even though Barcelona kind of came back and gave some chances at the end. Like I said, that last chance, it just didn't matter. So I think it was a crazy game, and it could easily have gone the other way. But like Charles said, though, Lewandowski didn't finish anything.
Yeah, he got close. Like I said, I mean, Neuer came up big on one of them. He got right in front of him, and it caught him like in the arm shoulder area, and then Lewandowski had one open, but it ran off bar. It could have easily been 5-0 Barcelona. I mean, that's how kind of dominant there. And that's why and the way Bayern's playing right now, I'm kind of worried about the second leg in Camp Nou down in Barcelona. I think they might best us at that one, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Barcelona, like it's their midfield is what really always dominates. And I actually really liked the introduction of Goretzka in the second half. He's the one that helped set up, I think, one of the goals. So I think that it will be a very close game. Very tricky. Who knows how the return leg will go?
No, I agree. And when I saw the starting lineup, most of it was pretty good, but because of experience, I think I would have started Goretzka over Sabitzer next to Kimmich in the defensive mid. But I understand why Nagelsmann did that. He's been starting. Goretzka came off an injury a couple weeks ago, and Sabitzer has been playing great in the Bundesliga. But the Bundesliga is not the Champions League. And then Upamecano over De Ligt in defense. Yes, he's been playing good, but it was his mistakes that cost us a couple games where we drew. And so I think in a big game like this, especially against Barcelona, which De Ligt knows that's where he came from. Or no, wait, he came from Juve. Sorry, yeah. I'm thinking of the other one. Anyway, sorry. But with his experience and everything, I think I would have probably played De Ligt in defense over Upamecano because he's probably making he's playing great this year, but he's known to make mental errors. And he did, however, get in the way and block one of those Lewandowski shots. So give him credit on that one. But I don't know. I think those are the two really changes I would have done.
Yeah,
was start those two instead of Sabitzer and Upamecano. So
interesting.
Yeah, we'll see how. Oh, go ahead, David.
Yeah, it's just interesting that I was going to add that he was talking about like all the players playing for Bayern. For Barcelona, like they were basically all new players, with like Sergio Busquets being the main guy that's been around. He's been starting for Barcelona for 14 years. Just think about that.
Yeah. There's still a few stragglers that are keeping Barcelona alive. But I mean, like we've been alluding to, the cheaters.
Thank you. I was going to say
have not yet prospered. The cheaters have not yet prospered, but they're prospered in the league, but not Champions League, which is a plus for everybody else.
Which, giving them credit, I don't blame the players. Okay, they're doing what's best for them. It's not the players that we're against.
Yeah.
It's the franchise, the club. That's who the cheaters are.
And the fact that they're not getting punished by every other group saying, you guys are cheating.
I just want to make that clear to our audience out there. It's not the players. Players are players. They're going to transfer. It's franchise that we're calling cheaters.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what I was saying I think his last podcast of I'm not sure what Xavi has been feeding these players to have them come over to Barcelona. It has to be super sugar coated with obviously a crap ton of money, but I don't know. Well, whatever Xavi is doing to get players to come to the club is working. So. All right, let's move on. Keep moving on to the Tuesday Champions League game. Next up, I think notable game to talk about is the Tottenham lost 2-0 to Sporting. What happened there, David?
I think it all goes back to what I was saying earlier. Tottenham doesn't have a coordinated attack. I called them out that they'd have trouble in this game. They're really good on the counter. And if you let them play that way, they'll do good. But Sporting knows that they don't need to play into Tottenham's hands. So they made Tottenham try to create something and they couldn't. Richarlison tried. So at this point, this is before the weekend, Son Heung-min hadn't kind of gone off, so he didn't score. I think that Sporting played really well, and they got a couple of good chances towards the end, and they took it, and they put Tottenham away. Interesting fun fact, I don't know if you guys remember, but Sebastian Coates was a Liverpool reject. Like, these are players, like, players like teams like Sporting are generally playing with like young guys and then rejects from like other clubs. So the fact that they can beat like a team like Tottenham, that just goes to show that like that's on Tottenham. They should have come up with a way.
Yeah, I mean, possession was pretty even. Tottenham. Sorry, I'm just going through stats here.
Yeah, possession, like actually had more.
Shots were dead even. Shots were
dead even.
12 each. On target was pretty even too. So I mean, it was a pretty even game. Just Sporting outlasted Tottenham and squeezed 2 in at the end. So that's all it takes in the Champions League nowadays.
Yeah, the margins of error are so small. You can't make mistakes like that. Like 0-0. That wouldn't have looked good, but guess what? That's a point. But losing 2-0, that looks horrible, and you don't have any points.
Yep. Lose for Tottenham. All right. Notable mention, continue on Tuesday games, is Eintracht Frankfurt got their first ever win in the Champions against Marseille, which Marseille is a notable club.
Well, yeah. Well, right now they're in second place. So they're only 3 points behind PSG in League One. So that's a good win for Frankfurt, especially since even though they're the cup holders for the European Cup or Europa Cup, I should say. They started very slow in the Bundesliga. They're creeping their way up. They've had some good wins lately, so they're creeping their way up. But they've started slow. So this was a good win for them, and they got their first one.
Yeah. All right, moving on to 8. Liverpool, I would say, outlasted Ajax because, as everybody has seen in this season so far, is Liverpool has been horrible. Is not playing the club ball that they have been playing the last couple of seasons. And so I think because their second goal, or the winning goal, was a header from Joel Matip. So I mean, just looking at that and seeing that Darwin Nunez, seeing that Mohamed Salah, even Luis Diaz, even though he's been on fire, not firing on all 4 cylinders. Even though Mohamed Salah did finally get his goal in this game, but still they have all these players. And clubs, I mean, I mentioned this before. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last podcast, but club is, I think, trying to chase Pep Guardiola in the system, especially with buying Darwin Nunez with all in all out number 9 striker. And so, but I mean, as we see, I don't know, my opinion, they're missing Mane, and then going to that, trying to focus on the all-in-all striker, Darwin Nunez, is just not working out.
By the stats, Liverpool dominated that game. Yeah. I mean, 24 shots to 3. Mm-hmm. And then shots on target, 10-1. And the one that they got was a goal for Ajax. It was the only shot on target the entire game. So, looking at the stats, they should have blown Ajax out of the water. But, similar to Barcelona, they just had trouble finishing, that they squeaked it out at the end. So you know,
Yeah. Real two facts. First of all, if Ajax had tied that game, I would have been like, okay, yeah, that's fair. Because Liverpool, I don't think they did enough to actually win the game. They got lucky with that 89th minute header. But then also, I actually think that it's the midfield that's not creating for them anymore because they're so used to having basically the two wing backs just sending in crosses. And if they're not doing that, then their midfield needs to create, and their midfield just hasn't been doing it. Also, I don't know if you guys know this. Do you remember that Daley Blind actually played for Manchester United for a while? So he's the left back for Ajax. Yeah, so I just find it funny. Ajax does have a good team. That Steven Bergwijn has been pretty good. Tadic is good. They have a good team. Definitely got dominated, but also got unlucky. I think they should have had a tie.
Yeah. I'll believe that. I'll take that. I'll take. I'll buy it for fans. I actually should put some chances away that they could have. But I mean, with losing Arthur to Manchester United, that I think devastated their attack. So, all right, yeah, let's keep moving on. Finishing off the Tuesday Champions League games. Also notable game is Club Bruges finished off Porto 4-0. So congrats to them for completely dominating a pretty decent side.
Bayer Leverkusen and Atletico. That was a shock to me.
And then a really good game, which the Bundesliga has really proven themselves in the Champions League this year, and with being diverse in their own league. We'll talk about that with game week 7, the table and Bundesliga there. But the Bundesliga has really come on strong in the Champions League, and it shows like with Bayer Leverkusen winning 2-0 over Atletico.
Yeah, especially since, again, like Frankfurt, they struggled to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
They were in relegation for a long time. Now they're working their way up. But a 2-win over Atletico, which I was shocked. I know David, he disagreed with me. I picked Atletico, and he picked Bayer Leverkusen in our predictions, and I was like, what? They're in relegation. And all of a sudden, he proves me wrong. That 2-0 Leverkusen. So I want to hear Dave's point on this.
Yeah, Atletico's been having trouble. Like, people don't realize that. I said at the beginning of the season when they were scoring a bunch of goals, people were like, oh, look, they're going to have a good offense. They don't have a good offense. They don't know how to put the ball away. The second thing is that they also had the game versus Real Madrid this week. Those are 2 giant games, and I think they probably didn't know how to prepare for either of them. So, yeah, I think it was unlucky that they went down, but they didn't have what it takes to get back right now. Like, they kind of need to get out ahead and force the other team to attack them, and then they can counter. That's all they have right now.
Yeah, I know they're trying to buy up Griezmann from Barcelona to get him out of that contract clause where he can only play 30 minutes a game. So I mean, we'll see if they strike a deal. But if they can't get that deal going, then they're going to struggle all season with their attack.
Yeah. That anyway, Barcelona is suing Griezmann for what's the lawsuit for?
Well, they're suing Atletico because they're not playing him as much because they found the loophole, and so they're only playing like a certain amount of minutes a game.
Oh, so they don't have to pay Barcelona.
Yeah, but I
Good
think
for them.
I think that lawsuit was just to enable a triggering of events to open up negotiations to buy Griezmann. If they play over 30 minutes for it's like a certain amount of consecutive games, then they have to pay $50 million for him. And so Atletico are, I think what I've read from Fabrizio on Twitter is Atletico is only willing to pay like 25 million, so like half the price, like 25 million. And so there are negotiations to try to get him for half price right now, and that's why haven't been playing him. So he like for the last 6 games, he's been coming on at the 60th minute, like every game.
That's beautiful. You rub it in the cheater's face. That's beautiful. I love it. You know, Barca's trying to cheat people out again. They make these stupid rules, and then when somebody finds a loophole and we're doing what's best for their club, they balk at them. Screw Barcelona. You know, way to go, Atletico. I'd do the same thing. Good job, Atletico.
Yeah, thoughts on that, David?
I think that's hilarious. First of all, I don't think that Barcelona. First of all, I don't know what rights they have to sue them. But secondly, I think that Atletico did play Griezmann for a lot more on Sunday against Real Madrid. So I just mostly think that their attack isn't the problem isn't because of their strikers. Like, their strikers aren't finishing, but it's because they're not creating in midfield. Their passes aren't good. They're playing what's his name as center back, the giant fro-haired dude from Belgium that was at Borussia Dortmund. Do you remember, Charles?
Oh shoot. Yeah. Gosh.
No, I don't remember.
His name is on the tip of my tongue. I know him.
Axel Witsel.
Yeah, Axel Witsel. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that just goes.
He's a defensive midfielder. He's not a center back.
Yeah, not a center back.
Okay.
It just goes to show you like how their team is basically all out of sorts. Their midfield isn't creating. Like, they should be able to create. I don't know what happens during the season. It seems to me like during the season proper, Simeone doesn't know how to get the best out of his team. And I think it's sad to say, but I definitely think it's time for Simeone to move on. They really need to create a better atmosphere of attack and creative football in Atletico. They have the players. They've been spending the money. They need the results.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll talk about more Atletico when we get to the Real Madrid game for game week 7. But yeah, let's keep it moving for Champions League unless you guys got more points. Let's move on to Wednesday.
What happened to your Blues?
Yeah. I guess we can go straight there.
Right to the heart.
So yeah, right to the heart. So this was Graham Potter's first game in charge. First time implementing his 4-3-3, which I told you guys. I put on the group chat. I was like, this guy runs a totally different system. Like, in the past, he was known to run the 5-back, but recently with Brighton, he's run the 4-3-3, and sure enough, he ran it. And I'm like, I don't know.
Now, it might be an adjustment because the 4-3-3 is a great formation.
Yeah,
I love the
but
4-3-3, but it depends on your personnel
exactly
and the training they've had. Now he has to retrain them for his system, and that's going to take a while.
In the training, but then when you spend a whole training. Like,
yep.
I don't know. My opinion, your season's down the drain at that point. But I mean, it's the same story in this game, like every other big notable club in the Champions League so far. Sorry, David, can you hear us?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't.
Okay, sorry. No. So I was just saying, like, finishing. Like, Chelsea could not finish, and it was just like Barcelona, just like Atletico having those problems. Juve, like all these big clubs, having having these problems finish. And I think, like to your point, David, like we have the wing backs because we have Cucurella and we have James, and they whip it in there. They put it in there for Aubameyang and for Havertz to attack, and then the Sterling to pick up the pieces, and Mason Mount to pick up the pieces. But it's that quality in the midfield. So in my opinion, his selection to play Kovacic instead of Jorginho, or to start Kovacic instead of Jorginho, was the biggest mistake, because Tuchel started Kovacic last game because that was Kovacic's hometown, and so it's kind of like a homecoming for Kovacic.
Mhm.
So he gave him the start, and then he brought Jorginho back on. But like you're saying last week, David, if Chelsea are to be consistent and are to win, Georgie and Conte need to be in that lineup consistently. That is the heart of our midfield. If they're not in there, then we will suffer.
Yeah, so. And also, like I was mentioning, I love Reece James and I love Cucurella. James, I think, is one of the best players on Chelsea, and having him as like a right back instead of a wing back means that he's not going to get into those positions nearly as often. He's going to get positions to cross it. Mm-hmm. He's a really good finisher. How many goals has he scored from that like wing back position? And
a few, yeah.
I just think that I'm not saying that a 4-3-3 is not good. I think it eventually could be good. I just think that they need a stronger defensive midfield so that the attacking backs can get up and down a little more, and that also you need your threats to be actually dangerous. If you're not putting it away in the middle, they're not going to respect the threats, and they're not going to worry as much about the wing backs. So I don't know. I still question the Aubameyang purchase. Like, he's not a target man. What is what?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. So like the one goal we scored in that game was off of a mistake we capitalized on. So it was, I think it was 4-on-4 in the final third, and then Sterling just scored a classic goal. Like he just took a heavy touch on the right foot and just curled it in the net. So it was beautiful. It was finally,
very nice goal.
Yeah, so it's finally nice to see Sterling getting into his stride. But like you're saying, because we had Cucurella up pushing up left, like we had to have because we trained in the 3-back so much that forced James on the right side to hold back, and not push up as much, because I mean with we have Fofana and like Thiago Silva and Azpilicueta, which they're really old, and so they're not going to be able to keep up with those strikers running at them, and so I don't know like the plans Graham Potter has for Chelsea or what he plans to change, but there's a lot. But there's a couple things swarming around Chelsea. One, Conte has denied his first contract negotiations with Chelsea, and he's up for a free this summer. And so that, to me, and I personally, for every Chelsea fan, that's worrying, because Conte is regarded as a world class, if not the world class, center defensive midfielder. And like you're saying, David, if we don't have him, like we're going to suffer. But then another point, which I see a lot on Men in Blazers, and a lot on some other American Twitter feeds, is Christian Pulisic is going to gain a lot from Potter's system. But personally, like I don't know, it's pretty crowded in there, especially if you switch to a 4-3-3, because you're getting rid of a defender, and you have to stick in a midfielder, not an attacker. And because we bought Aubameyang, like it's just where's Christian going to fit in there? So
Yeah,
I don't know, a lot of stuff happening with Chelsea.
One more quick ad. I think it's very interesting that Reece James has actually been playing as a right-sided center back when they're playing three at the back. Like he played there a little bit. It seems very similar to me, what England did with Kyle Walker, and I don't really know why they're doing it. It seems to me like a waste of his talents. So I don't really know
100%.
how to fix Chelsea's problems because Brighton was playing some very fluid, very movement oriented passing football, and I just don't think Chelsea has what it takes to do that, at least in the build up phase. In the final third, I think they have a lot of really good attackers, but like even then, I would say like I don't know if all of them are on the same mindset. I don't think that Sterling, for all his training under Pep Guardiola and his previous experience, like he wasn't the one who was doing the tiki-taka build-up with everyone else. He was kind of just flying in. So I feel like they're all the wrong pieces of the puzzle. So I don't know how they'll all go together.
Yeah, and like I was saying, we shopped to fit a system, and now that system is gone.
Yeah, just get.
So.
No.
And so now it's just together and make a team out of and win. So we'll see what happens. Sorry, switch here. Okay. Let's keep moving on with Wednesday. Actually to Real Madrid, David. So I should have kept you on there. I'll move you back. 2-0 over Leipzig. Do you feel like that was a pretty comfortable and confident win for Real Madrid?
Interesting. Benzema being gone, it's really changed how they attack. Like I think in a good way, because it kind of has forced them to say we can't just rely on Benzema to pull us out of our situations. And I don't know if it was comfortable or anything. I think they're doing a fantastic job of getting their young players in. So Tchouaméni has been doing great. I've always been a giant fan of Fede Valverde, who they have as a right winger, which is kind of like a cheat mode because he'll play right wing on attack, but then like central mid, right mid on defense as well. Like he'll be everywhere. So he's like a Conte. Like he's actually he covers two different positions. He'll be your midfielder and your attacker. So that means that they on build up and attack, they always have an extra person. So I think that they're like not playing super beautiful, but they're getting through and they're getting their young players playing time. So that's a win all around. I don't know if they deserve this quite as, like I think they won and I think it was comfortable enough, but mostly it's just good indications for the future because they have a bunch of young players that are actually getting playing time, and then their older players like Modric and Kroos, they've started to sub them out for each other more instead of having both of them start. So yeah, this is a good thing. So I don't think it's pretty, but win it and move on.
Cool. Charles, do you think this is a continuation of the struggle bus for Leipzig?
Right now, since they fired their manager and then similar to Chelsea, and then Marco Rose took over, former manager of Borussia Dortmund. It's going to take a while for them to get into his system and play the way he wants them to play. They're another team that's struggling in the Bundesliga that should be in the top four, and they're mid-level right now. So hopefully Marco Rose can turn that around for Leipzig. But my opinion, it was a total dominated game by Real Madrid. And I think Leipzig is going to have a hard time. I think the second loss, right?
Yeah.
I'm afraid they're probably out of the group stage. I predicted them to come in second in that group, but right now I don't even think they're going to make it out of the group stage.
Yeah. So, what does their group look like right now?
Let's see their group.
So it's Real Madrid, Shakhtar, Celtic, Leipzig. Yeah, Leipzig no points. So
yeah, they're at the bottom. So it looks. I mean, obviously there's 4 games left.
Yeah.
So they, a few wins, they're back in it. But Marco Rose has to do something to turn this team around. Otherwise, see you later. They're not going to move on out of the group.
Yeah.
Two things.
All right. Go ahead, David.
Yeah. First of all, I
Duet?
said Valverde played well, but also like that goal by him and that celebration was one of the best things I've ever seen. If you his celebration afterward, where he just expresses absolute excitement for scoring, it's just one of the coolest things that you see. Like, yeah, this is my team. This is the goal. This changed the game. It's exciting. I love it. So anyway, check it out. That's the reason we watch football. Just that kind of pumped up in intensity.
Yeah, and again, Werner, where is he? Since he came back to Leipzig, he has one goal, something like that. It's just like he's non-existent, and he's supposed to be the superstar, but where is he? He's supposed to be the goal scorer for the club, and he hasn't been there.
Yep, and that's kind of the reason why Chelsea got rid of him. So.
I think with Werner and I've seen it on the German national team, and then with Chelsea, it's a mental issue. I think he has doubts and he's not there mentally. So this new coach has to figure him out. I mean, Nagelsmann did a great job when he was at Leipzig coaching Werner. Werner was at the top of his game, scoring goals, because that's one thing they talk about Nagelsmann. He knows how to build younger players and move them along. I'm just not sure Werner was ready to move to the Premier League.
Yeah.
But now that he's back in the Bundesliga, I thought, okay, he's going to go back to normal. But now he's not under Nagelsmann. Okay, we'll see how he does. But he has to get through that mental block. So.
Yeah. So struggles continue for Leipzig, which is probably the only team in the Bundesliga, in the Champions League, that is really struggling
right now,
and not putting up an impressive performance.
Yep.
But to continue on the Bundesliga topic, we have next game we're going to talk about is Manchester City versus Dortmund, which to me was like an instant classic, because it was Haaland, who just came from Dortmund, facing his old team in Manchester against Dortmund, and it was a 2-1 game. So it was like a really hard fought game. Really. I would say it's really back and forth.
It was
like shots wise.
Yeah.
But it was just 2 goals back to back for Man City.
Yeah, because Bellingham scored for Dortmund first in the 56th to give them the lead, and
which came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Manchester City didn't score until the 80th, so everybody thought there was a possible upset brewing. But you can't stop Haaland. He got his goal.
You can't count him out.
You can't count him out.
If you guys, I wish I got a picture or can get a video clip, but like this goal is probably going to be the goal of the season for Champions League. If he doesn't pull off like a bike or something else crazy, but it was an outside of the foot cross with Joao Cancelo's right foot.
Yep.
It was about, I think it's like 1.5 feet in front of Haaland. Haaland jumps like 2 feet in the air, the outside of his left foot, like fully outstretched, taps it in across the keeper. It was just like, how? Like
that
how?
Was
like that was inhuman.
Yeah.
Just insane. Thoughts, David?
Yeah, that goal also blew me away. What you didn't say though is that everyone on the defense thought that it was way too far and way too high. They were like, we'll follow Haaland, but there's no way he's getting it, and somehow he still got it. So
somehow, somehow, some way.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused right now because Man City doesn't seem to be playing as smooth. Like I feel like they should have dropped like 4 or 5 on Borussia Dortmund, the way Dortmund's been playing recently. But Dortmund played really tough, and Man City showed its cracks, and they also had trouble. I think coming up with more intricate movement in the middle than in previous years. I think that's the problem. Like Haaland's positioning is fantastic. Still kind of like, I think he's doing everything he needs to. I think it's on all these other world-class midfielders to actually figure out the best way to use him. So fantastic job by everyone. What a game. I agree. And then that goal, especially against his former team. Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, according to the statistics, they did dominate. I mean, they had 66% possession to 34. They had 12 shots to Dortmund's only 5. However, out of those 12 shots, they only had 3 that were on target, and Dortmund had 2 on target. So a lot of shots, but I guess, only 3 quality ones to try to score. 2 of them actually went in. So
Yeah.
So it was a tough battle. I think Dortmund surprised everybody. They played pretty well defense because possession and all that. The way Guardiola plays, he's always going to have more possession than the other team. So yeah, kudos to Dortmund for hanging in there. Couldn't quite get the upset when you have Holland on the other side. Yeah, like you said, Derek, you can't count them out. So yeah.
Yeah. The memes I see on Twitter now is. Why hasn't Holland scored more? Because he's so consistent. He's going, like everybody knows, he's going to score every single game. It's just a matter of how many. And
I keep showing him these videos of Holland scoring, and he's like, why are the defenders not like just hugging him the entire time? Why are they not just following him around? And his movement's incredible. Like, you would think that any other team would be like, here is the main threat. Like, he can score anytime, anywhere. It almost seems like they're like, we can't stop him if he does something magical. So we'll just kind of, we'll follow him. But like, they lose him so many times. I don't believe it.
Be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He ends up finding space where there's normally no space.
Yeah.
And I think that's a credit to Manchester City a little bit because they're getting used to Holland, and so like Grealish and Foden, realizing how much space he needs, and also realizing how little space he needs to create chances because like you're saying, David, Holland drops in, like he receives the ball, he passes it, and then once he passes ball off, like he's pushing those center backs like straight away. Like he drops and then he just runs forward, and so he's constantly in the center back's face. And I think up till now it's been a long just in the center back's face, especially in recent years. I would say probably the last 5 years. Where center backs like Van Dijk, Ruben Diaz, I can't even list off all the center backs in the Premier League, but Premier League is known for their center backs, and Holland is just throwing a wrench into every team's plan of how to deal with that, and then even Dortmund, knowing Holland, couldn't even stop him. So he's just unstoppable right now. I'm gonna say that. Mic drop. All right, so that's Group G. Group G looking like Man City running away with it. Still, Dortmund's still in it. They're still in second place.
Yeah, they're in second. Well, I don't think anybody thought anything about Dortmund or any other team. Man City's going to win this.
Yeah,
I mean that's we all knew that.
Yeah. All right, I think the last notable game to talk about. Well, I mean, so let's go to the notable game first, then we'll talk about PSG. Notable game would be Juve losing out to Benfica. Benfica definitely playing up. Well, here's a question for you guys. Do you think Benfica was playing up or Juve is just horrible form right now?
Juve's in horrible form right now. They lost to Udinese today.
Yeah.
And, that's a team like that, and down to 11th or 8th
yeah.
in Serie A right now. And And the manager says his job's not in jeopardy, but yeah, you're 7th or 8th, and you're Juve. Your job's in jeopardy. You're on. You got to get something done. They lost to Benfica, and now they lose the Udinese. So it's like, yeah, something's not right at Juve. Some changes need to be made. And I know they lost some players. They lost De Ligt. They lost Dybala. But yeah, they got to ship somehow.
Yeah. Also, yeah. So Benfica's team is better than you would think. Like, for example, they have David Neres as like a wing. Gonzalo almost played really well, and Grimaldo, the Spanish left back, good. On the other hand, they also have some old defenders like Otamendi is from Man City and there. So I agree with Charles' analysis that it's actually Juve who's at fault, but that's the problem. If you're not playing up to potential, these Champion League teams, even if they're not great, they're good enough to stick a dagger in you.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, if you look at the game, I mean, Juventus scored in the 4th minute. So we thought, okay, this is going to be typical. They're bouncing back. This is Juve. They're going to play good offensive football, good attacking. And then after that, it was pretty much all, Benfica after that. They got a penalty shot, and then they got a goal in the second half also. But, yeah, it looked like it started off good, but then went south from there.
Yeah, I felt like, if I remember it correctly, I felt like Juventus came back at the second half and started putting pressure on Benfica.
Yeah.
But all in all, that's not how Juventus should be playing. Like, oh, yeah, we're going to get pressure. They should have, the I know, should have said, okay, we scored a goal, and now we're just going to keep putting pressure on it, and we're going to keep controlling it, and eventually we're going to score another. Then it's not just 1-0, and then something can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's his name? Milik. He shows like really good promise, even though everyone expects Vlahovic. Really, because he had like an insane season last year. So I think there's like high expectations for him to carry Juve. But I think I can't even say his name anymore. Milik has really good potential to be like a striker partner that we like a partner pair we hardly see in the game now. So hopefully that works out for Juve and they can figure something out and turn the season around. All right, let's go to talk about last game of this Champions League group stage, game 2, which is PSG versus Haifa. So I think the reason I want to talk about this game a little bit is Messi. I think finally getting into the groove with Neymar and Mbappe. So Messi's goal was a classic Messi goal, but I think the build up to that was really good on the side of Neymar and Mbappe. Do you have thoughts on that, David?
I agree with you. I think that PSG finally started playing well. I was actually really sad though for Maccabi Haifa. I thought that they actually played really well for a while, and they got unlucky. They scored a goal, but against PSG, unless you can play lockdown defense, you're going to need more than one goal. So yeah, I think that PSG has a fantastic. This is one of the years where I think they can actually go a lot further than what have they been getting knocked out in recently? The quarterfinals or anyway? They'll.
Yeah, it's been the quarters.
I think they'll make it to the final this year.
So, yeah, we'll see. With how it's looking, like I said, with Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar finally clicking, and met. The main talk has been if Mbappe because he has so much control over the club now.
Mhm.
If he allows himself, if that makes sense, to work with Messi and Neymar, because
Yeah,
Messi and Neymar have this click already from Barcelona.
from Barcelona.
and not, I know he was complaining about that in the transfer season about there being so many Argentinian players and they're just Argentinian click. And obviously Neymar's thrown into that because he's South American, and he was at Barcelona with Messi too. So, but I think it's finally Mbappe's finally starting to click with them again, and hopefully can provide us more entertainment in Champions League.
Yeah,
Here to come. So
yeah, and like David said, kudos to Haifa because they scored first in the 24th minute.
Mhm.
Then PSG had come from behind and they obviously scored 3 goals. But good for them to kind of take PSG off balance for a little bit and make it exciting for a little while.
Look at the
yeah. All right.
well. So right now PSG has 6, Benfica has 6, Juve and Maccabi Haifa have 0.
Yeah.
That's astounding. Like even if Juventus win the next 2, I don't. This is crazy, and I'm not sure how things are going to go. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how these groups pan out. I do want to do quick run through the groups. Since you mentioned it, David, since these groups are like topsy-turvies to what we predicted. So Group A, we have Napoli and Liverpool, 1-2, and Ajax shortly behind them. And then Group B is probably the craziest one. We got Club Bruges in the top spot with Bayer Leverkusen right behind them. And so obviously, like we talked about, Atletico struggling there. Group C, we got Bayern and Barcelona with Inter, trailing behind Bayern. So we'll see if Inter can knock off the cheaters. And then I think another surprising result is in Group D, Sporting. Sporting's in the top spot above Tottenham.
Yeah, that's kind of a shock.
But also another big group that's a big shocker is Group E. So Milan is in the first spot, Dynamo in second, then Salzburg, and then Chelsea. So Chelsea, very bottom Group E. We'll see even if they even make it out in the group stage.
Yeah, we all predicted Chelsea to win the group with AC Milan coming in second. It's just like, whoa, what's going on there?
Yeah, but because
Chelsea,
it's quite possible if Chelsea wins the next 2, then it easily, jump up 1. 4 points as a lead is not very.
But yeah,
well, like I said, turn around easily,
Yeah, that's a good point, David. Milan only has 4 points, so like it's pretty with minimal margins.
Yeah.
I guess you call it in Group E. Small margins. There you go. All right, then Group F is Real Madrid and Shakhtar Donetsk. So that up there above Celtic Leipzig. So I'm pretty sure I know I picked Leipzig to come in second. So they're definitely struggling this season.
Yeah.
But then Group G is what I predicted. My top 2, Man City, Dortmund.
It's kind of a shocker to me because I think I picked Sevilla because just the way Dortmund started the season.
Yeah.
And I'm glad for Dortmund in the Bundesliga being up there. But again, small margins. I mean, they only have 3 points. So, let's see how the next few games go.
And then we got Group H, finish it off, PSG, Benfica. So Benfica's a surprise one. They're tied, actually, with PSG of 6 points. So bottom 2 teams, Juve and Haifa, have 0 points. So it's looking pretty one-sided there.
It's interesting, talking about, like Benfica and Sporting, a lot of people don't seem to follow the Portuguese league very much. But these teams seem, at least these two teams, seem to do or around the 16. So I don't think maybe us as a group here underestimated them, but they do very well in group stage, and so they're those three are the top clubs in Portugal, and I don't think we should be surprised on how they're doing. They're just unknowns because not a lot of people don't follow them.
Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised that they're good, but we should be surprised that Juventus won that poorly. So that
yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, Champions League definitely looking spicy. So look out those games coming in October. I think it is when the next games
I
are
think
going
so.
to be. So, all right, let's move on to leagues. Let's do a quick overview on them on the weekend, starting with the Premier League. Notable games from the Premier League. I'm going to say, obviously, you got to mention Manchester City, still winning. Holland, like I said, still scoring, so don't count them out. Even though Wolves had a red card, I don't know if you saw that red card. It was a straight kick or like a it was a straight kick to was it Grealish or to Grealish's stomach or waistline. So
it was make it seem like it wasn't he's like, no, really? Are you serious? He was
like, I went for the ball. I'm like, dude.
It actually kind of
you straight up karate kick the guy.
There was a game, I think it was Barcelona Man U, back where I can't remember his name, but he was the Ecuadorian left back or right back. He he kicked someone in the chest, and I was like, okay, that might not have been a red card, but this red card, that was one of the most obvious red cards I've seen.
Yeah, the ball was head height, and he goes in legs first, kicking okay, all right. Anyway, from Manchester City, I think a really good game. That everybody should go back and watch highlights of it. Bournemouth versus Newcastle United. That was a really good back and forth. Some really good play there, and really, I think, really good fight back from Newcastle with Isaac. I think that was his first goal. I don't know if anybody's tracking. I'll see if that's his first. I think that's his first goal for Newcastle.
I think he scored one.
PK.
So, second goal. So not first goal. So Isaac still getting on the scoreboard for Newcastle. Go back, watch the highlights. That was a pretty intense game. Probably my game of the week for Premier League, probably for all the leagues, which I don't know if you'll argue that day with the Madrid Clasico, but was the Tottenham-Leicester 6-2. It's my game of the week because of Son. I think it's Son gets subbed on because he's on the bench for the last couple games, if I'm not wrong, David. And he gets subbed on the 59th minute, so 60th minute for Richarlison, who didn't really do much in the game, didn't really have a really big impact. But within 13 minutes, Son gets a hat trick, and I'm just I'm watching this thing, and his first goal was insane.
All those goals were great.
Go back to his so his first goal, he was full sprint. Defender still had a foot on him, and he right foot curls it outside dip in, and I'm just holy crap! That could be the Premier League goal of the season right there. Insane by Son. And so Son making this statement to Conte to say, hey, don't bench me again. So thoughts, David, on Tottenham?
Yeah, I tied 2-2 at the end of the first half. I can't remember exactly. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Leicester did make a fight back, but it was even at halftime.
Yeah.
Son Heung-min, I can't even say his name right, that did it. But whatever Tottenham did in the second half, like they just poured it on, and it was one of those games where like everything was going in. I actually expect at the end of the for Brendan Rodgers to get canned. I don't think that's playing well, so I actually thought it was going to be really good game for. But now I'm not sure if it was. Meow. I don't know if they're going to get their confidence back just because Son Heung-min ripped teamers from 28 yards out. Like that's the whole team. That just gives Son Heung-min confidence. But either way, Leicester playing well, and I'm frankly surprised that they're in 20th right now. They have 1 point, I think. I hope 1 point. Like that's horrible. I'm surprised Brett's still around.
Yeah, on Leicester. Sorry, I'll switch here. On Leicester, like just watching from the game with it being tied like 2-2 at half, and then Rodrigo getting the third goal for Tottenham. Like Leicester were fighting back. Like they looked decent in the second half. And they were fighting. Like you've been saying, David, the reason why all these teams are struggling is because of the midfield. And it was this blatant mistake from the Ndidi, who is like a prominent, notable center defensive midfielder. He made this obvious mistake, got the ball stolen from him, and then Tottenham go down and score. I think it's like 4-3. And so it was like a easy goal for them. And then like straight after the kickoff, he like makes his tackle for mine. And it's just like, what are you doing, man? And so he's yelled there. But from then on, like Leicester were fighting back, and then Son came on and did his thing. But yeah, I think Rodgers is going to get sacked or canned, like you said. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, sometimes it is better for the club to can them after a loss like that, though, because that way, obvious reason, like you don't want to for Leicester until halfway through the season, and you only have like 4 points, and you score like 38 points to stay up or 40 points to stay up. Like that's not when you want to can them. You want to can them or can Rodgers. You want to can them right now and say, okay, let's figure things out. There might be something I'm missing, but that's my analysis. That's why I was really surprised that you.
Yeah, not yet. We'll see what happens over international break. Because I mean, if you were to do it, it's a good time to do it because it gives you a little bit of time to find a coach and games or anything. We'll see in the next couple of days if anything happens. As for today for Premier League, it was another Arsenal basting against I guess you can call a low tier team. Brentford was 3-0. So Arsenal keep on winning, and then surprisingly, upset Everton beat West Ham 1-0. So Everton are back into winning ways. We'll see if they can keep it up and keep it going.
That's kind of an upset, though, the way West Ham's been. They've been down in the relegation zone most of the season so far. For this year, I know last year they did great, but so I don't know how much you can call that a upset. They're pretty much equal teams.
I don't know what. So like table wise, I would say yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
they're
about.
equal teams, but with the quality players they have, West Ham versus Tottenham, West Ham definitely should have done better.
Yes,
and I think that's been the story West Ham season so far is underachieving. They need to do better.
Yeah.
And then Everton again is just still trying to fight relegation, just like last season. So, thoughts, David?
Only what you said earlier, which was that Brentford really is. They're all right, but they're not a quality team. Look what happened with Arsenal against was it Man U, or which isn't even a good team. I don't remember. I don't remember who they.
Mhm.
But either way, I think Arsenal. Yeah, they lost 3-1 to Man United.
Yep.
I'm not saying that Brentford's horrible, but I think that Arsenal should be doing well against them. The one positive I would say is hopefully Mikel Arteta is building up confidence with Arsenal with these wins, saying, "Hey, look at that! You can play this style." And guess what? Look at this. Look at the standings. We're number one right now by playing the style, even with losing to Man U. So we don't have to win every single game to win the championship to be the Premier League champions.
That's yeah. That's very interesting. Because I mean they're getting a lot of what do you call it? Banter and like I don't know. Everybody views them as like they can't face big teams. They can only beat small teams. But like you say, David, if they pull off a tie against like a Manchester United, Manchester City, or Chelsea or Tottenham, whatever, like here and there, and they keep losing against like these top four teams, but they win against everybody else, they're going to end up winning the league without winning a game against top four teams. So.
But Brentford, they give them credit. They're 8th place. And I think that's kind of where they finished last year, kind of top 10-ish. So they're not as bad as people think. But, like you said, it's a team that Arsenal should beat.
Yep. All right. Let's keep moving. That's all I got for the Premier League. So let's move on to Bundesliga.
Okay.
How did Bundesliga do this weekend, Charles?
Some upsets. But earlier, you mentioned Gladbach beat them 3-0. Werner, where are you? I like I said, Marco Rose is the new coach there. He's trying to implement a new system. So, he's only been there for like a week or so. But Gladbach beat him 3-0. Hoffman got a brace, so that was good for them. Bayer Leverkusen 1-1 over Werder Bremen. So they're who's a relegation mode. And Frankfurt, they're back to winning ways. They're all the way up to, I believe they're, seventh? Yeah, they're 7th in the league now. They were started in relegation at the beginning of the season because they started so slow, and now they're in 7th, beating Stuttgart 3-1. And then the big shocker, what is going on with Bayern Munich? And I know all these other networks and crazies on ESPN are sitting there saying, "Oh, are you missing somebody?" That was the big headline on ESPN FC. Are you missing somebody? No, we're not. I mean, like I said earlier, he got a big goose egg against Bayern in the Champions League, so no, we're not missing him. It's more of where's Mane? He started the season hot. He went ice cold. And my thing is, which is the rumblings going around Bayern Munich right now. What's Nagelsmann doing? And let's hear. Some of the senior players on the team are, I would say they're starting to revolt, but they're not very happy. We've seen this in the past with Bayern Munich when they didn't like a coach. Pep towards the end. He did good at the beginning, but Ancelotti, Kovac, they didn't like him. So the senior people, we're not playing for you.
Yeah.
And they start losing. They start going down just so they can get rid of the coach. Is the same thing happening now with Nagelsmann. He's supposed to be – he was thwarted as the German royal. And if he's going to lose the locker room, which is the rumor that he's slowly losing the locker room, we'll see what happens. But from last year, he was criticized from rotating too much. This year, Bayern went out and spent tons of money and got a lot of new players, and he's criticized for not rotating and playing the same players, and most of them were the ones from last year, none of the new ones.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I think it's more not the Lewandowski issue. Yeah, in games like Stuttgart and Augsburg, yes. Okay, we're missing Lewandowski. I'll admit that because he's great against the mediocre teams. You know, I don't want to take anything away from Lewandowski, and I'm not a Lewandowski hater. It's just I'm tired of the oh my gosh, Lewandowski was Bayern Munich. No, he wasn't. Yes, he scored a lot of goals, but he wasn't Bayern Munich. And in a lot of games, he was non-existent. You know, you had Gnabry, you had Coman, you had Kimmich, you know, Sane in there scoring goals. So I think it's more Nagelsmann. He's the issue right now. He's going to have to make adjustments. Management came out and said, the board came out and said that his job's safe, but it's unacceptable right now.
Yeah.
And I think his job's safe is because they beat Barcelona and Inter in the Champions League right now. And my feeling is they're going to let him go to winter break. And if we're still fourth, fifth, or even lower, if he keeps drawing and whatever, he's out.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to tolerate that. We have to be, yes, the goal is winning the Bundesliga, but fourth or fifth place is not acceptable. You know, place. If they finish, you know, that's not acceptable either. But we're still, you know, top four your Champions League, but they're not going to take fourth and fifth place in the Bundesliga. They'll can him if that comes around. That's the way Bayern is.
Yeah. So I mean that brings up what we have on the ticker down there. Talking about this managerial dominoes.
Yeah.
That has started with Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
Everybody thought Tuchel was going to go to Leipzig, but Leipzig already had a coach lined up.
Yeah, Marco Rose. Yeah.
And I know you weren't on the show last week, but we were talking about off camera about how Tuchel could step in for Bayern if
that's a rumor. That's a rumor. It's you said that. That's a rumor going around. But then I just read an article this week that what happens if David Moyes gets fired from West Ham? They said West Ham is looking at Tuchel. So could he go to crosstown rivals? So right now it's rumor season because you know, managers are getting canned all over the place, and so we'll find out where Tuchel ends up.
Yeah, and that's why it's like I guess dominoes is not like the right word. It's more like off the carousel, and so I mean, it's I think we haven't seen. I'll get to you in a second, David, to get your opinion on this. We haven't seen a season like this in like forever, or like ever, because it was a crazy transfer season.
Yep.
There was like ownership of clubs are pretty much going crazy because one, two, Chelsea, and then all these clubs, like I said, transfers, like spending all this money because of one, the World Cup, players wanting to leave and get more time for the World Cup, and two, because of the salary cap happening or coming into effect for next transfer season. So there's a lot more behind it, and I think coming out of COVID-19 a little bit, or the restrictions from COVID-19 on football is still having some effect on that as well. But and all these factors coming into like all these sackings of coaches because players not providing the quality that they used to provide. So that's my opinion. Thoughts, David?
Yeah, just I want to start an unfounded rumor. No one said this, but I think Tuchel to Juve. How about that?
Oh,
that could be known. Yeah,
because that's another manager that could be on the block.
Mm-hmm.
What about Atletico Madrid?
They are so connected to Simeone that even though they need to let him go,
I was about to say.
I they can. I don't know if they can, and if they will, only because they're like they end the season in like 10th or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yes, so far we're only 7, like, what, 4 Champions League games in, or 3?
We're going into the third one.
Oh yeah, going to the third one. So 2 Champions League games in, 7 game week league games in, and like this season is already crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
And kudos to Union Berlin. They're in first place in the
I was about
Bundesliga.
to say that.
Although
they
they're
got another win.
struggling in Europa Cup, they're 0-2. They're at the bottom of the group, which is weird because they're winning the Bundesliga. So yeah, but kudos to them.
Yeah, I mean they're new to that competition.
Yeah, they are.
They're new to Europe. They're new to being on top in the Bundesliga, and so their players are going to have are having to put in a lot more than normal.
Yes, that's true.
And so I mean we normally see that. I think that's normal when we see a club that's not used to winning that much, that they put emphasis on one competition more than the other.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can obviously see it with the consistency they have in the Bundesliga of winning, and then, being bottom league with Europe.
It's not even that, though. It's also just the fact that sorry. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so it's not even just
no, you're good. We hear you.
It's also the fact that like they just don't have the depth of rotation that a lot of these bigger clubs have. So if I were a fan, I'd say absolutely. There's no reason to try winning the Europa Cup. Just try getting back there next, and that way you'll have enough money to get all these new players. So
or Champions League next year.
Yeah, even Champions League. Right now, their goal differential.
No, you're
with Bayern's being 13, so they're doing fantastic. One quick question, Charles.
No, yeah, and that's the thing for most of your Bundesliga clubs, besides Bayern and maybe Dortmund, their goal is Bundesliga first, and especially for a club like Union, where they haven't been there in a long, long time. That hey, okay, let's try to win the Bundesliga, because that means next year we're going to the Champions League. We'll finish top 4 or even win the Bundesliga. So yeah, you're 100% right there, David. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just one quick question. And I don't know if you know the answer to this one, but I'm a fan of all Spanish players, right? And there's a certain Spanish player that was playing for Man City and Dortmund as a left back. His name's Angelino, and now he's playing for Hoffenheim. Why did he get sent out to Hoffenheim? Do you know? I thought that he played really well last year.
I don't know. I mean, I really didn't follow transfers much in the whole Bundesliga last year. Maybe there was not room for him, or maybe I don't know what the reason was for being transferred.
So he's not a left back. He's like a left wing back, and so I know that like any team he plays on has to change how they play. So I remember Dortmund playing like 3 at the back more because of him. But and he would always be up in the attack. But he had the best delivery out of anyone on Dortmund, so that's why it just surprises me. Like when people. Yeah. So he's on Hoffenheim right now, who are number 4, which isn't bad. But if you ever see him play, just keep me informed on how he's playing, because I need to know what's going on.
Okay.
I'm very confused.
All right, we'll do.
Yeah. All right. So like I was saying earlier, like it's pretty what was the word I said earlier? Diverse, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Because a lot of these teams you wouldn't expect to be doing so good, are doing so good, and then Bayern not doing
so well.
And so we'll see what happens if Bayern can get in shape, and then I think the January is really very important. Probably more important than the summer transfer window for a lot of teams.
Maybe for coaches also,
and for coaches. So we'll see what happens in January after the World Cup. All right, David, let's hit up the Madrid derby. How'd that go for Real Madrid? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was a very tough game. Once again, they didn't have Benzema, so they up front, and it was an absolutely crazy game with very, very intense opportunities by both teams. I was very surprised that Real Madrid not only pulled it off, they scored 2 goals. I'm not going to go play by play, but if you get a chance to watch the Tchouaméni pass to Rodrigo, he's normally left winger, but he's playing striker. It was a beautiful chip right over the back line, and Rodrigo just volleys it one time. It's an absolute monster of a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next goal that Real Madrid scored was just Vinicius, who's playing fantastic, takes on the whole team, scoring a goal, but it's a rebound off the post. And like I said, Fede Valverde, who's literally everywhere, is able to get there first and tuck it in. So that was a goal, and that was the game that was very important because right now Atletico is number 7 and Real Madrid is first. Real Madrid won all their games this season. Short answer, basically, like it's a crazy league, La Liga already. Real Madrid's with 18 points, Barcelona with 16, Real Betis is 15, Athletic Club 13. This is already pretty tight season. So we'll see if what happens and if Real Madrid and Barcelona pull away like they normally do. But if Atletico Madrid doesn't get it together, they're going to be left in the dust.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So Atletico still struggling. Real Madrid still going strong without Benzema. So that's good news that they can still do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's touch up on Serie A before we close here. So I guess it really is upset weekend in Serie A.
Yes.
So Udinese crushed Inter Milan 3-1.
Yeah.
So Inter's still struggling. Is Lukaku still out with injury or?
I think so. They're saying he was supposed to be back, but I don't know. I don't know if he was. I didn't see.
Finally wins against was it how many years? It's like 50 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Against Juventus.
1-0.
So
and they were last place.
Yeah, last place. So still struggling Juve. But
Atalanta, I don't know if you'd call it an upset. I think some people would with the talent that Mourinho has at Roma, but Atalanta people they won.
That can be considered upset too.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I consider this an upset because the Milans are supposedly the current powerhouses in Italy right now, and so Napoli will beat AC Milan 2-1.
Yeah, and that was a great game. I caught some of that, and Napoli played really well. I think Napoli deserved the win, but last year, we did our predictions in the season because they lost a lot of players, and we thought they'd be, 4th place, maybe in Europa Cup 5th or 6th or whatever. They're winning Serie A right now. They're in first place.
Yeah.
And they're not just in first place, but they're dominating. They're beating people like AC Milan. I think they drew against Juventus, though. But they're doing what they have to do. They're beating the big teams, not just the little teams. So right now, deservedly, Napoli should be in first place.
And that's even without Victor Osimhen, who's injured. So they have Simeone up there, Raspadori. Napoli's been playing really well and picking up momentum, so their confidence is sky high, and they're looking great.
Yeah. I hope they keep it up. It's been a while since somebody else besides Juve and the Milans.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of rooting for Napoli.
Yeah. Well, let's see what Napoli can do. All right, guys. Let's do. I was gonna say let's try to recap or try to preview the international break. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, sorry, I've been out of it. I was out of town last week, and my daughter's married this weekend, so I've been kind of out of it. So I haven't really paid attention to what's coming up for
So I know it's the next like couple weeks, or like week and a half will be international break. I know USA is playing Japan in Japan. So these games are just really to solidify the lineups and the squads for the World Cup. I'm not sure is this the last international break before the World Cup or
I think I'm not sure. I have to look that up.
yeah, make sure you guys look out for your country and try to watch those games because pretty much here like every international break or every game here on out is going to be looked on like tactically from the manager, trying out a lot of different formations, a lot of different players.
And who's actually going to start and be on the team?
And who's actually going to start. So, like most starting lineups on what I think most starting should be if players are available.
Yeah.
And then they'll work from there. So
I'll bring up
all right.
International break.
Go ahead, David.
Two random things. One is I don't know if you noticed who actually started in Marseille versus played in the Champions League, but it was what's his name? The striker that he was the Chilean. Why can't I remember his name now? Sorry, you did the techno thing right at that moment.
Oh, is it Costa?
No. Hold on. I'll look it up. But the other thing was, who are they playing against? It was Marseille versus who did they play in the Champions League?
Oh, Frankfurt.
Frankfurt.
We lost 1-0 to Frankfurt.
Yeah. But I guess.
Are you talking about Sanchez?
Yeah. Sanchez is still there. Here's the other funny thing, though. I think I can't remember if it's Porto. Yeah, it's definitely Porto. Pepe is still playing center back at age like 39 or something in Porto.
Wow.
So I'm just saying we're gonna see some old players in the World Cup this year. We're gonna see some players that we're gonna be like, oh, they shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
So that's my Sanchez.
Yeah, so I guess a really good friendly to look out for is Italy versus England in Italy. So,
for the friendly.
Yeah, for friendlies. So, yeah, it's a game to look out for. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to talk about England squad since it's England, but I mean, there was some notable players that were left out that should have been in. So, I forget the coach's name. Southgate, yeah, Gareth Southgate is still trying to figure out who to bring in because there's a lot of players, especially the wing backs, to decide on. So, all right, let's go around the table here, I guess. Do closing comments. Charles, closing comments on thoughts on this last week and for international break.
I don't really have anything for international break, but a statistic for you: Bayern Munich, first time in a long time, have not won a game in 5. They've had, besides Champions League, I mean in league, they've had 4 draws and a loss. So that's kind of shocking.
There you
go. I'll bring up something.
All right, comments.
Yeah, just one thing for international. I'm wearing the Uruguay jersey, and Uruguay actually has a bunch of fantastic young players that are out there, like Darwin Nunez and Fede Valverde, just like players that and like even good center backs, Araujo, who plays like right back, I think, for Barcelona. So they're always known for just having the same team of, like Luis Suarez and Cavani still playing or something, but they have a fantastic group of players this year. So hopefully they play a little more offensive, and I'm excited to watch them.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you guys like and subscribe on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. We're on like every social media page, so make sure you follow us. We get we update you guys as much as we can on the news around football world. So again, if you like and subscribe to YouTube, this is where we'll make it. So we'll see you guys next time.
Ciao.